everyone. Welcome to our live. If you're watching live or if you're watching the replay, welcome. I'm here with my friend Mani. Hey, Mani.
Hi, Lamar. Hello, everyone.
Hey, I'm so excited. We're so excited to be here with you. And if you're familiar with my channel, if you're familiar, welcome back. And if you're not familiar with my channel is all about, we talk about spirituality and how it relates to our relationships with ourselves and with others. And we talk about people pleasing, needing external validation, about our self-worth and all the emotional stuff that no one really talks about. We are doing it right here. So, Mani, today's topic is about why you don't have to fix yourself to be worthy. All right?
This is a big topic. Yeah.
That's a big one because being worthy, we are walking around with an underlying belief that that something is wrong with us, right? And we have to do something to be worthy, right?
To be accepted. Yep.
Yeah. Or we have to change ourselves. And, and we're walking around with this belief. It all began with our children, right?
Yes.
And yes, so we always think that we have to justify our existence and to justify our worthiness, right? And like I said, it began with when we were children with our parents, right? So we had to please our parents, and then we had to please our teachers, and then we had to please our bosses. So what do you think about it, Mani?
Oh, that's right, hitting that nail on that head sort of thing. So when we're born, basically,
Mhm.
like I know you brought up, like nobody asks a baby to be worthy. A
Mhm.
baby is accepted without any really external validation sort of thing. But then we get conditioned right from when we're very little, that we have to do this in order to be able to get this, and it's usually
Right.
from somebody who's in authority over us.
Mhm.
And it becomes so deeply ingrained in us that later in life we don't recognize where these feelings of not being worthy are coming from, and why we need that external validation in order to try and make ourselves feel good about ourselves.
Right.
We don't even question it. So big topic, but something that definitely needs to be talked about.
Yes, so we have this belief. So in this life, we're going to dive deep to how to change this belief, right?
Yep.
So the first thing is just to recognize and to be aware where did it come from? And it came from, like I said, from our childhood, right? We had
Yep.
to please our parents, right? And we had to do things in order to receive things. Like you have to clean your room and then, you receive your money or whatever. We constantly have to prove ourselves, right? And it comes a lot from authority figures like teachers and bosses, and we constantly have to prove ourselves. And this is really important to recognize what is the reason, because when you are fully identify yourself with this concept and with this belief, so you believe that this is part of your identity, right? And then that makes us dependent on other people's behaviors, right? And action
Hmm.
and how they respond to us, right? And then we internalize it and we think that something is wrong with us, right? But it's just our programming. What do
Yes.
you think about it?
Yeah. Yeah. And the people that are on this awakening path are at this point in their lives where they are strong enough to be able to ask the question,
Mm-hmm.
where did this come from?
Mm-hmm.
And just really be able to explore that sort of thing. Because if you think about it, I mean, our entire society these days, right from when MySpace started way back in the early 2000s sort of thing, like now we are run on how many likes we get, and so we
Yeah.
do things for
Mm-hmm.
likes because it gives us that little that little dopamine rush sort of thing
Mhm.
that we're kind of after, thinking, oh well, I got so many likes, so now I'm accepted, I'm good to
Oh
go,
my
sort of thing. Like, and then we don't realize that those two things, from needing the validation and building on that when we were kids, and social media and all that stuff, starting right from MySpace on up, how those two are inherently linked into who we are,
Yeah.
not just as people, but as society as a whole these days. So again,
Yeah, and think
big
about it.
topic.
Like this generation is building their self-identity on the number of likes they're receiving on their social media, right? And I
Right.
don't really blame them. This is the society they were born into, right?
Yeah.
And but unfortunately, that's led me like, if you think about even bullying, which I experienced bullying when I
Mhm.
was a child, like, but I knew that when I come back home, like, I'm good for the rest of the evening. But this generation, you have all the WhatsApp groups and you have all the social media, and a lot of the bullying, right? It's
Continues.
yeah, it continues when they are home, and you feel like you don't have like really a safe space for you anymore, right?
Yeah, but there's always now that nice little underlying fear, and it's not nice. I'm being sarcastic, but there's that underlying fear that if you unhook yourself from social media, well, now you're not being liked, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
where does so there's this little push pull that goes on inside of you, going, I may not be on social media anymore, but now I'm not getting
Mhm.
likes, and I don't know, I'm not getting the validation, so now I'm in a deficit, I'm feeling not good about myself. And it's not that social media is, again, good or bad, it's amoral, it's what
Yeah,
it does in the hands of the person that holds it, that uses it. um thinking about what it does to people on the outside and on
yeah.
the inside.
And you know what? The most crucial thing that, like you said, we link, especially this generation, our self identity to external validation, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, if you're not getting the validation, you feel like, I don't know, like you feel like you're going to die,
You
right?
feel lost. You feel
Mhm.
very lost. You feel
Yeah,
very lost. Yeah.
and
So-
think about it. Like, think of a baby. This is the next point, right? Think of a baby. A baby when he's born, a baby when he's born is not no one is telling a baby, if you want me to feed you, don't cry for an hour or whatever, right?
right. Right.
So they
Yeah.
don't have to justify their existence. So at a certain point, like as we grow older, right? We grow older. And so, you know what? Up until now, you were good. Okay, you were taken care of. But from now on, you have to prove that you are worthy of receiving those things you receive like for free. So what's the difference? What's the difference?
And again, this is where, I mean, our parents were indoctrinated into this type of behavior that was perpetuated upon them by their parents and their parents and them parents and their parents. It's so we're good, unquestioning little cogs in the wheels of society. Now, we're not looking to overthrow it, sort of thing, but we
Mhm.
want to be able to address the fact that sometimes without that external validation, we don't know how to validate ourselves. That's
Yeah,
not something that
exactly.
we're taught. We're taught we need it from the outside. We don't get it from the inside. But it's the exact opposite that's true. And that's what we're going to talk about and discuss and teach today.
Yeah, exactly. So, when we are dependent on other people, it's like, it's not really like a life. And, I met a lot of people and I asked them a question, and they told me, as a coach, they told me, what, like, my husband doesn't give me a compliment and whatever, and I don't receive it. And I asked him one thing. I asked him, there's one person that can give you what you want, like, at any time. So they're like, me? Yeah, and
Mhm.
they're like surprised, and there is no judgment, but this is so deeply ingrained. So you don't
Yes.
even like know that there is a possibility that you can give those things to yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. So how do you give those things to yourself, Lamore?
Oh, I do these things. Actually,
Yeah.
I do a lot of mirror work. I going into the like I standing in front of the mirror and I'm just telling myself, you know what?
Oh, she froze.
You're like the best. You're worthy, and yeah, and some people think that it is cocky or something, but no, because like, so what's the other option? To wait for someone else to give it to you? So what
And
do you
then
prefer?
and then that just repeats the cycle, and
Right,
on it
and
goes.
and even if you get the external validation that you want, it's not sustainable, right?
Yes.
Because you receive it for once moment and you get your instant gratification, but it's not sustainable because it's not really a reflection of who you are being, right? So
Yeah.
once you change who you are being, and once you're going to give it to yourself, then you're going to see the outer reflection, right? And you know what? And the paradox, even when you are not seeking for compliments, you're not really thinking about it, then you receive it, right? When you need it, you're going to repel it. But when you don't, you're like, whatever, I'm good. So everyone is going to reflect to you, yeah, you are good. Like,
No, that's awesome. So that goes hand in hand with the next point that we were going to bring up, which is, you want to face your emotions. You don't want to
mm-hmm.
avoid them, sort of thing.
Yeah,
So when you're doing that mirror work, basically you are addressing any deficit, quote unquote deficit that you had when you were a kid, when you were first taught this system of reward
yeah,
and external validation. So you want to, like you said, you want to talk to yourself in the mirror, even though it's going to sound incredibly delusional and you may feel really silly doing it at first. You're addressing that inner child. The eventually you're going to be getting
exactly.
down to it. And once you don't need anybody else's validation, just your own, that is a major, major step forward in your autonomy and your freedom.
Exactly. And you know what? When you run away from your emotion, you actually fuels them. And like almost everyone walking around, with a lot of trauma installed a lot of his body because of the suppressed emotions, right?
Right?
So, and we're going to touch on the next point. It's to express yourself, but I just want to say something about what we touched earlier about all the electronics and about all the attention. Like
Yep.
sometimes I see, like, I can see like a parent walking with his child, like 3, 4 years old, and like his parents is like stuck on his device, right? And
Yeah.
like the little children is like mommy and daddy, and they're like ignore the child, and it's no wonder, because it's really crucial for a kid to receive those things from his parents. But if you don't receive those things from parents, so what do you think, money, when you grow older? So what are you going to do? You're going to seek those things from other people, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're going to find people who will validate you because you see everybody else get, accepted by likes on social media, or, out in society at events or whatever. They get accepted for certain traits and certain behaviors. They get rewarded with external validation, sort of thing. So again, it's a self-perpetuating cycle, and it's going to be really hard to break out of, but it is very worth it.
Right. And this is what we touched earlier about the expressing the emotion. So it's
Hmm.
really people that are, let's touch on people pleasing, right? When
Again,
you
a
want
big one.
when you want to touch, when you want excuse me, when you want to impress other people, or you want to please other people, it's just because you are not expressing yourself and you're not expressing your needs, because we were taught think about it, that if you are expressing your needs or your emotions, so maybe you are not going to be accepted, right? You are going to be rejected. You are not going to be loved, right? And then you're going to be all alone. So this is like part of the thing that really help you to overcome and to change this belief that you have to fix yourself. It's to start expressing your need. And it can be something really small, like, I don't know, like if you're at the store or you want to ask something or you usually don't, so start to express yourself, right? Because if you don't express yourself, the real you, this energy is not going anywhere. This
It
energy is
just
going to be stuck with you.
just
Mm-hmm.
gets bottled on up. It just gets
Mm-hmm.
bottled up. And then
In
that
your
creates
body.
issues on down the road. Yeah.
Yeah,
Again,
in your
more things.
body. Like,
Yeah.
and like you feel like you, yeah, like you feel you're like really heavy. And people just don't realize you just have to face your emotion. I know I said it before, but this, on this channel, I'm going to brainwash people with starting to express their emotions because this is like the cause for a lot of pain and trauma. And people just don't realize why they're feeling so empty, why they feel like they're all alone, because you are not expressing yourself. So start expressing yourself, even if it's just one small thing, right? So, and start to sit with tension with people, because we're so afraid of expressing our needs for others, especially someone that we care about, because we think, they think that I'm weird, they think that they will leave me, or whatever it may be, right? Yeah. you know all of us, and it's not really ends, like you're going to encounter the same challenges over and over again, right? Even when you
Yeah.
saw, even if you think that you already healed the situation, it's going to go, like it's going to repeat itself, but now you're going to handle it differently, right? Have you ever have
Yeah.
something like that happen to you, Moni?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I was always, I mean, the kind of the odd one out. I was very, outspoken. I'd ask things that, people would just stare at me sideways for. And initially what that is designed to do is to have you stay in your lane. You're going to stay in your lane. You're
Mm-hmm.
not going to question anything. You're not going to rock the boat, and you're going to be accepted, into the herd, as it were, sort of thing. That's kind of a herd mentality. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but what we're not taught is that the greatest, most authentic freedom is outside that lane that we're not
Right,
encouraged to explore or express. So
right.
talking about it though is a great way to get this process started so that
Mm-hmm.
things do change and that we
Right.
don't pass this internal trauma that we have all been indoctrinated into, so we start passing it on less and less and less,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can become more authentic.
And I want to say something about, the spiritual community. There's like a belief that, even they call it self improvement, which implies that something is wrong with you. So I don't agree with all this self improvement, but, and there's a belief that you have to constantly fix yourself. And
Right.
I know there's a healing that you need to do at a certain point, right? For a certain period of time. But if you're constantly in the loop of, oh, I need to fix myself, I need healing, you just, it never ends. There's a saying I heard, and I couldn't agree more. You're never fully healed, you're always healing. So even
Yes.
if there's like a certain scenario, a certain subject that you thought that you already healed, so you're going to encounter the same problem like down the road, but now you're going to know how to handle it. And now you're going to approach it from a way different, like different
Angle.
perspective, because
Yes.
because you're a different person. So if something happened to you, Moni, Like this, like you think, oh, you know what? I already healed this. I'm good. And then like, oh no, 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 no. Like you think that you take like 100 step backs.
Yeah, that's a, and it's good to remember that in this case, you are always in a state of becoming. It's like a masterpiece that is
Mhm.
constantly being worked on from the moment you take your first breath to the moment you take your last. You
Yeah.
are never finished becoming. And that allows you a whole lot of freedom and expression if you allow it, if you
Mm-hmm.
allow it to be so. And that comes along with one of the other points here, which is challenge the old stories, which again
Mm-hmm.
are are what, when you have your people pleasing days, the people the people that you seek that appeasement from are the ones that are used to the old you.
Yeah.
They're not going to be around for the new one, sort of thing. So this is a game where you have to become your own greatest cheerleader, your own,
Yeah.
greatest, just, supplier of the whole I've got this. And you do. And you do. Again, we're not taught that. External validation, good cog in the wheel. But the
And,
challenging the old stories, like, that's a good
just
one.
a reminder, I didn't say it. Just feel free to ask questions in the chat. So, and we're going to answer your questions. Yeah, and about the people and surrounding yourself with people, sometimes there are people that you can get really rid of, right? Like you have like a friend for 20 years, or you have like a family member that you don't want to, to be alienated, to be distant from this person. And now what are you going to do? So this is something that we have to touch on, and this is the boundaries. So if you want to change this belief that you have to fix yourself, you also start to expressing yourself and to put boundaries. Because if you are not going to put boundaries for people,
You're going to get all walked over and get right back to where you began.
mhm.
They're
So
they're they're gonna
mhm,
they're gonna try and force you back into that little pigeonhole that they know you as.
yeah,
Don't let them do it.
right.
Challenge the old stories.
Yeah, and it's not that comfortable for them when they see you
Mm-mm.
changing, or up until now you were fine, and now and now you're trying to put better.
So, the one point for the challenge the old stories is the voice in your head that says, "I need to do this to be worthy."
Yeah,
You can take that thought and you can just roll it, crumple it on up, and toss it out the window. Okay, that is no longer you. You don't need to do anything in order to
anything.
be worthy. You are good enough as you are in that state of your becoming, which means you are always going to be good enough no matter where it is that you are in your path.
Yeah. So, Mani, how did you heal the part of yourself that needed external validation? I'm curious.
So I realized that the the external validation, even though when I was younger was very nice, it still in me, it left a, I don't want to say a hole sort of thing, but it was like having a cup. It just didn't quite fill it up to the level that I wanted.
Hmm.
So then I started becoming my own cheerleader. I'm like, if I'm going to be different, let's be different. I'm not going to do this halfway. If I'm going to be
Yeah.
weird and different, like, let's embrace it and let's go whole hog. Like, so, and I found out when I did that, it opened me up to be able to have different life experiences, different interests to be able to explore, new skills to be able to master. And that gave me my
Hmm.
own, again, being my own cheerleader. I didn't need external validation. I gave it to myself.
Yeah.
So, freedom.
Yeah. And you know what? Know what? Like for me, it's all about starting to express myself. It's like this is and it's really hard for me. Like when you're like a people pleaser, it's really hard for you to express your needs because
Hmm.
oh no, my job is to make other people happy, and I'm good.
Yeah, but again, and part of the people pleasing as well that we really haven't, covered, but which definitely is a valid point, is not only do people start people pleasing at a young age to be able to get that validation, but it's also sometimes a need to be safe, to be able
Hmm.
to read the room and be able to, keep the peace. And that's it, it's like a part of self-preservation as well, which as you get older you realize you don't need that.
Right.
You've got because you've got this. You are your own person, your own individual, even though we are all one sort of thing. Let's it's we are individuals experiencing this really interesting path called life.
Hmm. Right. So let's say we have questions. Hi everyone in the chat.
We're not ignoring you, I promise. We're just having a conversation.
Yeah. So
um so
another big one is the way that you speak to yourself. You touch about the inner child. Like, let's say there's a child that is crying or is angry, like 3, 4 years old. Are you going to ignore him, really? So that's every time we ignore this voice inside of us that needs the love and attention from us, that's actually what we're doing,
Yeah.
right?
No, absolutely, absolutely. And I'd like to ask how did you come to that realization? Because that must have been a like
But the inner child,
mhm,
because we all have like this a little voice inside of you
mhm.
that wants attention, that wants validation. And it's all about really the connection with yourself. And I think this is a process because you can, even though up until today, sometimes I still struggle with those things, right? We always evolving and we always have there's no, like I already said it, like when you're on a spiritual path, there is a no deadline or you know what? From
Get it?
now on, I'm
Yep.
good. I did my inner work, right? This is the stages of the spiritual awakening. I'm at the last step and I'm good. Bye bye.
Yeah, there is no alarm clock that says that you need to be awakened by 8:05 p.m. right on the dot, not a moment
Yeah, and
before or after.
another thing, like there's like a term in spirituality. People call it spiritual bypassing. Spiritual
Mhm.
bypassing is basically when you ignore all the negative emotions and you're telling yourself that you are not allowed to have them, right? And you have to be like all, smiling and just everything is like good and you're not allowed of to be sad or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So you're just going to skip those emotions and you're going to present like an happy because I'm spiritual and I'm meditating and everything is good and right. So this is, and I used to be like that also. And I realized that you can't really keep this facade for a long time,
It's
right?
not sustainable. It is not sustainable,
It's
and it
not
takes a lot of
sustainable.
energy. It takes
Yeah.
a lot of energy to do. And the spiritual bypassing thing, I know this is a really I had not heard that phrase before,
Mhm.
but I think that subject itself is worthy of having its own live. So in the comments, if
Definitely.
you would like, or if you would like to hear a live on spiritual bypassing, because this is something that a lot of us do without really consciously thinking about it, just leave us a comment, and that's something that we'll work on for a future live, because I think that
Yeah,
is totally
and
worth
even yeah,
exploring.
even if you're watching the replay, just leave us a comment. What subject you want us to make lives about? Because we talk about everything that usually the spiritual community, it's not really talking about it that much, and it's really important for us, for people to be aware. Also, I don't want to say the dark side, but the side that people like to keep in the dark.
Yeah,
You
because we're
know,
not taught how to deal with it.
yeah. So if they're telling you like do your shadow walk, oh no, you have like, to be fully immersed in your shadow walk. And I get it. I a really big fan of you need to feel it to it. But there is a certain point that you just have to stop and stop telling yourself that you have to fix yourself, like consume a lot of content and I need to fix myself. And the most powerful one is to start integrate the things that you've learned. When you start to express, when you stop walking on eggshells, when you trying to do, I don't want to say the word trying, but when you are doing your best to really to integrate all the knowledge that you explored. So it's not just about consuming the knowledge. Oh, I need to do this, I need to do this. No,
Yeah.
no, no. We have to actually do it.
So I know I had brought up to you so there's your life as we have it right now, right?
Mhm.
And there's going to be this big old unknown in the middle, but on the other side is, we have comfort zone, uncomfortable stuff, new comfort zone. And there are people that just want to speed right through that middle part because, we don't know how that's going to go. And there's a bunch of questions, and this makes me nervous, and the whole nine yards. But as we were saying, that middle part in between old comfort zone and new existent comfort zone, that middle part is where the growth happens, and you don't want to skip over that.
Yeah,
Your the success that you have with that middle internal part becomes somebody else's success roadmap to be able to do the same thing. You give people the courage to become more of themselves when you give yourself permission to do this work.
yeah.
And it's really, really important. It's
And
very
you know
important.
what? You said giving permission. This is a really big one because
Tangent.
if we go back to the needing external validation and needing outside reinforcement and outside
Mhm.
whatever it may be, compliments, or when you seek this interval, what were you saying? I lost the train of thought. You said,
It's too bad the live doesn't have a
oh yeah, yeah,
rewind.
yeah. Yeah. We need to give ourselves permission.
Mission.
So if you want like to attract something into your life or to change something into your life, let's say you want to be loved, right? Because you needed validation. You need to give yourself permission to feel the emotion because we don't want this thing, right? We want the emotion that the thing is going to give us. So if like let's say like I want a compliment, right? From you. So I don't really want the compliment. I just want the feeling that is going to give me when you give me this compliment. So if you just allow yourself right now to feel the emotion, right, of loving yourself, or I already have everything, I'm already all and complete. So if you go the other way around and you first feel it yourself, then you're going to receive it. So but how we are taught, it's that you are going to receive it, and we then you're going to feel good about yourself. And you know what, I have to tell you, Mani, I love those Disney movies. I love them, but I'm
I'm
sorry.
representing.
But I'm sorry, those Disney movies, because Disney movies, what basically they're telling you, oh, you just have to wait to Prince Charming, or someone
Comes and
is going,
rescues you.
yeah, to rescue. And then you're going to be happy, like, and then you're going to ride into the sunset, happily, happily
Do
ever
no work
after.
whatsoever. No more work whatsoever.
Yeah. So they really emphasize the needing something outside of yourself, and it will come and it will make you happy. So I'm sorry, I really love the Disney movies, but this is
Oh
like,
no, that's okay. That's all of, again, that's all of social media and Hollywood and all that stuff. It's they have a formula that they follow. It's very formulaic, and this is how we feel our life should go. But again, a lot of that is those movies and things that we internalize, especially when we're very young, you know, follows, well, we need acceptance, from each other in order to be loved, in order to be validated. So it's not just on the parent or authority figure front. I mean, we are, if you think about it, we are surrounded by it basically 24/7. It's just being spoon fed by the
yeah.
hateful.
Like the Disney movies, I don't know any, like every child is raised, seeing the Disney movies. So they're really smart. They have a lot of tools to reprogram you without you even knowing. Like it can be said, oh no, it's just a cartoon, it's just a Disney movie, like Rapunzel with the hair. She's going to wait, right? To someone to save her. But this is, like you said, it's subtle, but people don't know that it's really influenced your subconscious mind, and then like it's done, you already programmed, you already growing up that, oh, okay, I need to wait for someone to save me, but I'm sorry, like I'm sorry, no one is going to save you.
You have to do the work yourself.
Yeah.
Definitely, you have to do the work yourself, and it is not something that you cannot accomplish. Just give yourself the the love, the grace, the space, as much space and time as you need
Mm-hmm.
to be able to, again, like we talked about last week, taking apart the old you,
Mm-hmm.
and this is you building you up on that new foundation, which is, I mean, it's the greatest work that you can do.
Yeah,
Again,
and there is no deadline, right?
nope, not at all. Again, we're all works in progress. So that's where the whole practice self compassion comes
Mm-hmm.
in when you're going through this, when you are weaning yourself off of needing that external validation. And again, here's the middle work from old comfort zone, work in the middle, new comfort
Yeah,
zone, new
we
life.
have.
That
Mm-hmm.
you got to give yourself that space in the middle to be able to give yourself the love, the compassion, the grace, the time, the experience, because it's worth it. It
Yeah,
needs
and
to be done.
we have to be comfortable with the unknown, and with this dark period. But remember, don't get into a constant loop of fixing and healing, because there's a certain point that is going to do you, like, to harm you more than to do good, right? So that's why, if you just allow the concept that you are always healing and evolving, you don't need to be in a constant loop of healing and evolving. You're doing, like, as you go, right? So it will be much easier for you to accept it and to be present with it, you know, and not to
Yes.
skip to the happily ever after, like the Disney movie promises. So hello, Jean. Jean says hello.
So,
Okay,
and
so
you touched on, again, just this last point of learning to
mhm,
express yourself and your needs.
mhm,
So, um, I don't know. I mean, it does play into external validation when you're saying, I need to feel good about myself, and I don't, I need something outside of myself to be able to give me that validation. But
mhm.
learning to express yourself in a way that you give yourself that approval is,
Yeah, and you know what? About expressing your emotion. Also, I'm not saying you have to try a tantrum, right? It's a way of the supermarket or something, but there's a healthy way that you can express yourself, right? There's an healthy way that you can express yourself. And you can, even like practice, start journaling and, just start, there's a saying, if you're not going to express, you are going to repress and you're going to
Mhm.
be depressed. So,
100% accurate. Yes.
yes.
Coming
So,
from
final words, Bonnie? Final words?
Oh, I think doing these things and talking about these things and bringing them out into the open and expressing them in a way that that people can understand what it is that we're trying to do, um, breaking free of the mold that we were placed in without our permission when we were
Mhm.
kids that we didn't question. Like this is amazing stuff, and it is not undoable. It is not impossible. It's going to be a little bumpy and it's going to be rocky. Again, old comfort zone, work in the middle, new life, new comfort
Right.
zone, up a little higher, I should probably say. But, it is absolutely worth it, and if you don't find comfort or you are tired on running on that hamster wheel of constantly needing the external validation and you want to get off, this is
Mhm.
how to do it. So definitely needs to be talked about, expressed, and more getting people more knowledgeable about it
Yeah,
so
and
that they
sometimes,
don't
and
perpetuate it
sometimes,
on.
yeah, and sometimes we feel like we don't have the safe space to do it. So I just want everyone to know. So this live, this can be your safe space. We're going to do it like every Wednesday. So just like I
Yeah.
said in the first live, as long as it's legal, we can talk about it right here. So
Yeah,
that can be your
100%.
safe space. If you have like no, if you feel like alone and you have like no one in your life that can understand you, so join us like every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Central Time. And if you're watching the replay, feel free to leave your comments and to just tell us if there's a certain subject that really you want us to make a live about. So, Mani, it was a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, Lamore, and thanks for joining us, everybody. I
Thank
hope
you,
you got some
everyone, for
value
joining
out of
us.
it.
Thank you.
All
Bye
right,
bye.
thank you. Bye. Let's do our little heart. You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, back it up. There we go.
Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.